Hey, folks. So I've been doing some thinking about really everything that we have going on right now, and how much of a dangerous threat we're facing. And many of us are waking up a little bit more. Some of us are a little bit more ahead of the game, understanding the nature of the real problems in this world and not just America. Um, America and its sort of land mass that's effectively like a aircraft carrier. I'm not gonna say the name because this will probably get my content suppressed, but we all know which other foreign country has great influence on our politics, our policy. Um, it seems it's largely behind a lot of the many or most of the foreign wars of aggression, um, including regime change, theft of resources, undermining sovereign nations. That's also a big part of why we have what some might consider a problem with mass migration. Um, those are man-made problems, just like famine, just like G-side, just like other forms of fascism in that country and here. It started there something like 75 plus years ago by the same people, and they're the same types of people that have embedded themselves with other supremacist folks in all parts of our government and the ruling class more broadly. We're learning more about certain files and what all that means. We have one of our cities, many of our cities, kind of under siege, but one in Minnesota is occupied by a paramilitary force that are completely lying about what they're actually doing. It is indiscriminate violence, kidnapping, leading to disappearance, torture. This is for profit. They told us before this all started that they don't seem to really care about the Constitution or human rights. They don't care about the courts. They think they can ignore the courts. That's why it's important for us to resist. I think that all of this equates to um, many impeachable offenses. There are a lot of things that should get these people locked up into jail, including from the bottom to the top. But what I want to get on here and say is what I think people that need to step into a leadership role should be calling for. And I think these things would have popular support. Um, People like Zoran Mamdani have proven the case for people like me who have been saying all this time that leftist politics, like social democratic policies, both economic and forms of government management. These policies are popular and they are broadly supported, and they can be very effective. Now they'll come up against all forms of resistance. That's what happened when he was running in the primary and in the general. He ran up against everything and everyone that wanted to stop him, and he's so far been very effective already. And the entire world is looking at Zoran Mamdani, and they should. We are seeing more people run in that stripe, and I want them to continue. Every so often, I get people that tell me that I should run. And now, whether I'm going to do that or not depends on a number of different factors. I am not somebody who is. Um, I struggle with the idea of being such a public person and having like virtually no privacy anymore and being attacked from all sides. And I would it would literally change my whole life. Like, I believe in public service. I am considering maybe running for something at some point because I think it's important, and I would feel like I've done something wrong if I don't do everything that I can do. If people like I believe in democracy in a bottom up sense. If enough people are pushing me to run, then that's probably something I will need to do out of respect for the people that see me as taking that kind of role and potentially having a winning message that gets enough votes to go do something. But I would get attacked from every possible side because I will speak truth to power, and I don't care about people's status or position or money. I don't care if you are harming people and you are not an ethical human being and you're not doing your job. I will call you out, and I am not going to play nice. I'm not interested in playing nice. I think giving people room, and like, I don't believe in like equal time or claiming that everybody's words have equal weight. I don't tolerate liars, and I have no interest in people that bully other people. I have no interest in people that are racists. I have zero respect. I think it's a crime to speak against other people as if they don't have full and equal human rights. I have no interest in the people that are in charge right now. Most of the people in government, um, in both of the major parties, I think our parties are corrupt. I think our system is corrupt, and I think the files have proven that the stories we have been told our entire lives are largely built on kind of a house of cards, and the rules based order wasn't always. It can't continue this way, but the international rules based order is largely built on power, and I don't believe in that. I don't believe you can have justice if you have people that have too much power, like power corrupts. And I don't think we should have a system like that. I think we should have sufficient checks that if anybody steps out of line, they face prosecution. They face, whether it's social removal, social ostracization, but they should be disempowered. I think we should have a code of ethics that's enforceable. But what I want to talk about is what I want people to run on. And I myself might be one of those people at some point. So here goes. Here's my criteria, and I think this is a winning message. I would support any candidate running on accountability, a national working class debt jubilee. Excuse me, I'm just reading something that I wrote. So let me start over. So, what I want to see somebody run on across the country, I think this should be the universal message. I want somebody who is running on accountability. That means going after all of these Epstein folks, all these people in our government that have proven to be corrupt and are harming other people, that allowed contracts like Geo Group, Core Civic, Palantir, Flock, and all these other surveillance tech companies. I don't care if they're considered legal and they've been done by a process. They are all involved in violations of human rights. They are all depriving people of their freedom, and they are fundamentally risking all of our lives because these people are growing in power. Um, I don't think they're as powerful as they want to be, but I think if this continues without resistance, we are in big, big, big trouble. I mean, you could say, excuse me, we're already in big trouble. Some positive things that I want. I think we need a national working class debt jubilee. I don't care about the big banks that are going to suffer with this. I don't care about the rich people that are going to suffer under this. Debt is crushing all Americans and robbing us of opportunity. If you want to go biblical, even in the Bible, every 7 years or something, debts were supposed to be wiped out. Interest is something that is crushing, and it's immoral. Um, and it's just rent-seeking behavior. And I think a lot of our society has been um, designed around putting chains on all of us, because in order to get the things that we need, they get overpriced by the upper class, so-called up. They're not upper. I don't see them as upper, but they're often labeled that way. They're the owners of stuff, and it's unjustifiable. I think we should be running on a second Bill of Rights that includes healthcare, housing, food, education, childcare, fair wages, and a right to accurate information and positive national, positive progressive civics engagement, and ongoing education of political literacy, media literacy, and general literacy, and public works projects as human rights. I think we need strong immigration reforms by starting with ending violence towards sovereign nations for our capital class's benefit, establish fair and equitable, transparent immigration reforms, expand the immigration administration system to accommodate the needs of our states and establish more humane systems, crack down on employers who exploit undocumented people, like our president. I would also support work toward abolition of first our for-profit prisons with a focus instead on restorative justice and rehabilitation programs, and abolish most prisons. That's been done before in other countries. That's been their work. They believe in actual justice, whether it's criminal justice, social justice, and They treat health crises like health crises, like drug crises and mental health crises are exactly that. Those are medical needs. Those crimes that are associated are as a causal factor. Those are failures of society. We failed to provide adequate, hospitals and care. And a lot of that stuff is gate kept for the wealthy class, for the Epstein class. They profit off of our suffering. They profit when the systems are designed to fail. So, private, for profit businesses that bilk us for too much money and stop many people from getting care. Veterans, people that don't have sufficient income, it's all a scam. So for me, this is about quality of life, crime and harm reduction, and violence reduction and prevention. These are the kinds of things that we could do. We could literally start doing those things tomorrow if we had the right kinds of leaders in place. And that's why I have a lot of respect for people like Zoran Mamdani, who went from nobody knew who the hell he was. He had like 1% to 2% in the polls a year before the race really started. And then he ended up winning. And in the process of running, he and his team were working on things to actually have plans so he could start getting to work as soon as he got into office, because the stakes are incredibly high for a candidate like him. Because he's a social democrat, we haven't really had that aside from people like Bernie Sanders, who's been the most popular independent senator, most popular senator in the United States for many years running. I wonder why. Because he talks about the things that are needs of the people. He talks about actual solutions for the people. And so did Zoran Mamdani. I want back to basics politics for all people running. I want people to not take any corporate money. Any moneyed interests should not have any influence on our politics whatsoever. He proved you don't need it. You just need people power and, some election laws, some election like matching funds really helped him, which was a great thing. But he had people power, and he brought everybody in, and that's what any politician should do. Nobody should be running on racism. Nobody should be blaming some freaking scapegoat group like immigrants or trans people. None of those people have anything to do with the problems that we're facing today. It is the billionaire class. It is the wannabe trillionaires. It is the multimillionaires. It's the people that have always had their boots on the neck, and there's always money for war, never money to take care of the people. I say feed the people. I say make sure they can have clothing, they can have housing. Land should be something that we all acknowledge as a responsibility. Like, we should be looking to the indigenous people of this nation to take care of our land, take care of climate change and things like that. I think people should do some research on what land back actually means. And I think a lot of leftists, including myself, need to look in more to those models and to those people that have spoken about this for a long time. The people that have been treated probably pretty close to the worst, if not the worst, in this nation. Those people have a lot to contribute, and great injustices have been done. I think we owe a lot of reparations to a lot of different people, and I don't think anybody should be angry about that. If you actually care about justice, those are the kinds of words that should be spoken, honestly. And I'm not interested in people that are rewriting history, and I'm not interested in people that are brutalizing other people, setting up like an Amazon style system where they're just grabbing people and making upwards of almost $400,000 per person, spending taxpayers' money, funneling money into these people's pockets. Core Civic Geo Group members of the cabinet own stock in these companies, and they donated to that campaign. That is evil, especially when you're taking money out of the system. Undocumented immigrants pay taxes. They fund Social Security. They fund Medicare. They fund Medicaid. They fund all kinds of public programs that are being stripped away by the GOP because of that big stupid bill. And they funnel money. They give massive tax breaks to the rich. The only people that are being served by the current American fascist regime are the billionaire class, are the Epstein class. So we need a positive message, and we need to be fighting and promising we will hold these people accountable. The Nazi Gestapo people that are picking people up, the slave catchers, they will never be free ever again, and they will never be employable ever again. If you're doing it, you are not going to get the money you were promised. Some are finding out pretty quickly. They're complaining on Reddit, so I see. Those people will be chased down, and justice will come for them at some point. And I can't guarantee we're getting out of this, but I know that if enough of us stand up instead of like looking away, if enough of us stand up and take care of our neighbors and look for ways to help, and I'll talk more about that later. I'm going to be working on a project that effectively is like an ebook or one resource that people can use if they're feeling hopeless and helpless, or how they can get in the fight in the most nonviolent, effective means of resistance that we know of right now, taking lessons from Minneapolis. My apologies for kind of not posting enough lately. I'm just a little overwhelmed at times, but I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to stay in this for the long haul. And mad props to the people that are holding it down in Minneapolis and elsewhere. And white folks are finally getting a taste of what it's been like to be brown or black in America since the beginning, and Native Americans too, and women. The battlefield has come to white people finally. And for the folks that want to say that the protesters are rioters, they're lying, they're nonviolent. These people are peaceful and they are resisting in the ways that are legally appropriate and effective. And you can't say this is about legal immigration policy. It's not. Constitutional rights are being violated. Undocumented people have the same constitutional rights you do in terms of due process. Um, you can sit there and be lied to all day, or you can listen to the people that understand the threat that this isn't just about immigrants. It never was. This is about a for-profit system. This is about setting up a police state. This is about a totalitarian takeover of this country and potentially others. These people aren't playing around. They're deadly serious, and we have to take it seriously. There are more of us than there are of them, and we do have power, and we will use it. And I'm not threatening violence. I never did. I never have. I speak at my town council. I am doing what I can in my community. I will continue to do more. And I would ask that you do the same. You cannot sit on the sidelines. I've actually studied what happens when people are bystanders in systems like this, situations like this. It's very harmful to just sit back on the sidelines when mass harms are being done. And actually, a lot of men are finding out that um, they're facing consequences for failing to step up for the members of the community. There's a lot of divorces happening right now because the women are looking to the men like, hey, I thought you were protectors. You don't have anything to say about this? You're not going to stand up? You can't see the obvious cruelty? What, just because it's not you or us yet? That it's not your problem? You cannot afford to pretend that this isn't your problem. You can't. It's all of our problem. We own it. It's our government. So you either speak out against it, you resist it, you help your community, or you're just as much of a part of it. You're complicit. Don't be complicit. You might want to look up what survivor's guilt is if you do survive this after this. I don't think I would wish that on my worst enemies or allies, would be allies at some point. I know survivor's guilt. I've had a mild case of it. I'm a veteran of a foreign war. I lost some of my soldiers when I came home. My service wasn't what I would consider a huge deal, but I did my part. Um, but I still live with losing people when we came home. And that's a small thing. This is bigger. Take care of yourselves. None of us are alone when we all move as one. And none of us are free unless we are all free. What happens to one of us could happen to any of us. And that's the cost of doing nothing. We are many, 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 many people in this country. Billions around the world are watching in horror. In Germany, they're referring to Trump as America's Hitler. I would argue the entirety of the GOP, with the exception of maybe a couple, are neo-Nazis, they're lost cause losers, and too many of the Democrats who went along with genocide are complicit as well. So, I don't know, I feel like the whole system needs a bit of a reboot, but we can't let them control it. Those people need to be arrested and locked up. I'd say impeach all of them using Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution, which, you should look that up. But when it comes to commissions of treason, bribery, high crimes and misdemeanors. It all fits. Every single one of these people is complicit with a whole mess of crimes. So they got to go. All right. Take care, guys.